So the next question, if I invest 100,000 shillings, how much do I earn in a year? I think people ask this so much because that is the minimum amount that they were buying at. So for the Mtn Ipo, each share is 200 shillings, and then you are required to buy a minimum of 500 shares, which comes with 100k. So someone is asking, if I invest my 100k, how much am I going to get after a year? So there is no guaranteed amount that you're going to get after a year, because it is a stock exchange. Like, it can go up and down, the prices keep moving up and down. But then if we're to base on prior results, I was looking at the EPS, that EPS is earnings per share. I was looking at the earnings per share that was published for 2020, and it was 14 shillings per share. So if by any chance MTN manages to maintain the same EPS, that means if you own 500 shares, you just get that 500 times the 14, and then that will be 7k made in a year. So the 7k, 7,000 shillings, is how much your shares have earned in that year, assuming the EPS has remained the same. But that does not mean that that is the money that comes to you. The only money that comes to a shareholder are the dividends. The earnings do not come to you. So the company can decide whether to pay out dividends or whether to just reinject the money into the business to grow, and all the different sorts of things that the board will have decided on. So again, based on prior ratios, if by any chance MTN decides to maintain the same dividend per share that was made in the prior year, I was looking at 2020, and they made a dividend per share of 40.65 shillings. So if you have 500 shares, that means the dividends that will be coming to in 2021, assuming the same dividend per share, that would be the 500, multiply that by the 40. So that would mean you would get something around 20k in dividends. But remember, in the year 2021, MTN has already made an interim dividend around August to the shareholders that were there as at that point. So whichever dividends that are declared at the end of the year, we'll have to take into account that odd dividend that was paid out. So there will be some proration of some sort. Don't mean that you'll get the 40 shillings per share that I'm assuming. So yeah, as an investor in the stock market, it's not a must that you're going to get any sort of income. You just have to pray that the company performs well, and then the value of your shares will either go up, or maybe they can declare a dividend, and then yeah, that's how you keep earning. Then the next question is, can I use my shares as collateral? You see, when these different companies were going out to market these shares, they included this collateral issue as a key pro to the investing in these MTN shares. But then I think I appreciated APSA for coming out, and they were like, guys, we are not taking your share certificates as collateral because they are so risky. Like, the market can go in whichever direction, and then the bank, now assuming the share price drops to say 10 shillings per share, the shares that you bought at 200 shillings and now they are worth 10 shillings per share, and you got a loan using the share certificate, see, there's a big exposure to the bank. So it's not a must that your lender will be able to accept your share certificate, especially in this Uganda market. It will be so hard for you to get a loan using that share certificate. So think twice if you're putting your whole life savings in the stock market. You may not be able to do much. Our next question, are there bonus shares? Yes, there are bonus shares. That's some interesting bit about this IPO. So who is eligible for these bonus shares? When I was looking at the prospectus, I noticed that, realized that if you're a Ugandan individual, you're entitled to 5 shares for every 100 shares that you've bought. So if you buy 500 shares, that would mean 25 shares extra, just because you're Ugandan. And then on top of that, if you're Ugandan and you buy shares using the MTN Momo or There's a certain USSD code, I think, that was put out by MTN. I'll try to get it and put for you on the screen. If you use that code and you buy the shares, you'll be able to get an extra 5 shares for every 100 shares that you buy. So if you buy 500 shares, you'll be able to get 5 times the extra, like in the bits of 100, that would be 25 extra shares for the 500. So if you're Ugandan and then you buy using MTN Momo, you'll be able to get 50 shares for every 500 that you buy. So you get 50 extra shares, than 25 because you're Ugandan individual, and then the 25 because you've bought using your MTN line. I'll get a snippet of how it appears in the prospectus. Realize that even institutional investors have some bonus shares, and East African individuals like Kenya, I don't know if Rwanda is allowed to invest in this, but I saw it being marketed in Kenya, so you'll be able to also have extra shares for every 100 that you buy. So the minimum of 500, everyone is literally going to have an extra 25 shares free of charge, which is exciting. Like, who gives out free shares? It's so rare to find, so this is a great chance. If you were to invest, I'm not saying go ahead and invest. Then our next question,